So wet flies, we're at the start of the trout season here, and I think one of the most effective ways, certainly one of the most effective ways it seems to have lost favour, is wet fly fishing. And I know a couple of boys who do it extremely well, and when you see them in action and you see how many fish they catch, you can see why it's a method that you really need to have in your armoury. Now, the good thing with wet fly fishing is flies pretty much haven't changed for 100 years. They're the same sort of North Country spiders that have been getting used in rivers all over the world for such a long time. This is my take on the Waterhen Bloa. It copies everything basically. It's early season stuff. You're looking at March browns, LDOs especially, and turkey duns. Now the whole point of the wet fly is it kind of looks like the cripple. It looks like the fly that hasn't quite made it, and it kind of gets trapped in the surface film or just below the surface where it drifts along perfectly with the current, and it fools fish everywhere. So let's go ahead and tie them, shall we? The first thing I'll do is I'll get a hook in the vise. I'm tying this on a 12. I'd normally tie that in 12s and 14s early season, and then drop down to 16s later on in the year. So it's quite a light hook, but at the same time it's got strong wire, so it's not too flimsy. Just get the hook in the vise there. Forgive me if I've got marked up fingers. Fish's teeth. Repetitive washing. But also tying off a lot with black marabou. So obviously if you've got the original Purcell's silk, use that. However, this is light Cahill, and I use this a lot on wet flies and dry flies. When it's wet, it's got that colour very similar to original Purcell's. So yeah, that's that one there. This is a 8/0 or a 10/0 is fine. Anything thicker than that, you'll not get a nice neat head. So just come in and wind your thread down the body. Take your tag end and use that as a guide to come down and touch in turns. Or as touching as I can. My sight's not as good as what it used to be. Which basically means I need to go and see an optician. So, you got him in there, in with your scissors. So the next thing I do is, you'll see David McPhail a little bit of wax. Oh, I've tried it till I'm blue in the face, can't get on. So I've just got a little bit of wax here. I just rub my finger on it and rub it up and down the thread. Now, the original fly calls for a light dusting of mole. Now, I do tie them like that, but geez, it's fiddly. A light dusting of mole. And you need mole for the original one. But we're still going to use it, if you can get a hold of it, that is, because it's becoming harder to get a hold of mole. This is the real deal here. Somebody's done for me and cured it. The perfect colour. It's like iron blue done. It's just an amazing colour. You can see that there. Absolutely superb. And that's what you want. Now, the way I tie this, rather than doing this light duster of mole, which works, I tie it. I do a light dusting, don't get me wrong, but I'm just going to pick off some fibres. This stuff is just so thin. You can see it's just like a light dust on my fingers. And what I'll do is come in and adhere it to my tying thread. Now you'll only need about an inch, a whole inch of dubbing. If you can see there, it's just very light dubbing. Anything more than that and it just becomes clunky. And the fly's supposed to be skinny. So I'm just going to see if I can do that. If you can see that there, that's basically where we are. And what I'm going to do now is I'll get my thread, get my dubbing up as close as I dare. I've kind of bunched it together there. It's the last thing you want to do. And I'm going to come up now. I can just wind up and it looks nice. However, I found this to be a better option. So if you come up, your first turn, then leave a space as if you were ribbing a fly. See how I'm ribbing it there? Ribbing up through the body. Again, I've just got that light dusting. I'll do another one there. And then stop, give yourself a little bit of space behind the eye. So what you can see here is I've used it like a rib. But as you can see, it's a very light dust, and I'll take this little bit off. Don't need him now. Because the fibres are so small, it sticks to the thread really well. So there you go. Now what I like to do is a locking thread. Wrap, like so. Beautiful little body. You can see that light dusting, just the tiny little fibres there. Absolutely spot on. So now we've got some moorhen, lovely soft feather, softer than hen hackle, and that's what you want. You need that mobility, nice and soft, beautiful little fibres. So I've got a feather prepped here, and what I've done is I've just took from the tip and I've just pulled the hackle down, so I've got a little bit to work with. I'll take it out the pliers. I prefer the little circle pliers aren't as good for this because it's so sort of close knit and fragile a feather. I like something a little bit looser, so not a rigid hackle plier. So with the tip there, which I've done, just come in and just a couple of looking wraps. Okay, again, like I mentioned, this feather's fragile. Bring your thread in front, one wrap, move that out of the way, one wrap, like so. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trim the tips that we had there. And now for the delicate bit, and this is delicate. We're going to have 2 turns. Well, I'll see what the feather will decide how many turns. It'll be 1 or 2 turns. Stroke your fibres back on the feather so they're facing towards the rear of the hook, and then turn around as gentle as you dare. Like I say, this is a very delicate feather and you want that delicacy. So that's 1 full wrap. I'm nearly done. 1 more. Just round, stroke the fibres back if you need to. I didn't want it clogging up. That's it. So 2 wraps there. Partner thread out the way. Oh, careful, Stephen. Park the thread out the way, and then in with your scissors and snip. And you can just finish it there. You've got the delicate, ever so delicate Waterhen hackles. But what I do is, again, with just a tiny little bit of mole, I'm going to come in and put a little thorax on this, just a little bump. Does it make a difference? I don't know, but I like the way the fly looks. So I've just got a tiny little dust in there. I mean tiny. And a little bit of wax on my finger. And stick that on the thread. Tiny. Not a lot. Too much. Like I say, this stuff is so delicate. I've got a tiny bit on. Because I've got a little bit of wax here, it's sticking to everything. There you go, that's enough. Maybe a tiny spot more. Nice and tight. Now you can see how thin that is. See it? And then just stroke your fibres back. Get everything off my fingers. Just so it sweeps the Waterhen back and cloaking the fly. Not too much, but enough. So I've got that little bump as a head there, and then just with my tying thread, I'll pull the fibres back, and just very gently I'm going to whip finish this now. Make sure everything's out the way. Such a small, delicate fly. Just one wrap. And you can see that little head there. It just makes a little bit of difference, in my eyes anyway, to the look of the fly. It looks more like the cripple when it's got the head there. So, let's see how that looks. Angles. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. So that's him. That's your Waterhen blower, or the way I tie it. With that little bit of, use the mole up as a rib rather than just a light dusting, and I also put a little bit on the head as a thorax. That's my Waterhen blower. A great fly for early season work. Hope you enjoyed that.